My fiancé said we should wait to have kids. Turns out he was already having one with someone I didn't even know existed. I found out my fiancé was trying to get another woman pregnant while I was planning our wedding. That sentence still doesn't feel real, even as I write it. It feels like something that happens in trashy movies, or some over-the-top Reddit post you scroll past thinking, that couldn't be me. Except it was. It is me. And the worst part? There were no signs, no distance, no coldness, no forgotten anniversaries or shady business trips. Daniel was perfect. That's what makes this so much harder. He didn't pull away, he held me closer. He didn't lie with words, he lied with love. We were supposed to get married in 8 weeks. The venue was booked. My dress was already tailored. My mom was crying over table linens. I was finalizing the playlist for our first dance. He'd picked the song. He even practiced the steps with me in our living room. Daniel made me feel safe. Every single day. When I talked about baby names, he smiled. When I brought home bridal magazines, he sat next to me and circled things he liked. He left little notes in my bag that said things like, "Counting down the days until I get to call you my wife." So tell me, what kind of man does all of that while building a family with someone else? I found the message by accident. I wasn't snooping. His phone lit up while he was in the shower, and I reached over to silence it because he hates the vibrating alerts. That's when I saw it. A message from someone named Kay, no emoji, no fluff, just, "I took the test. It's definitely positive. I'll take another one in the morning. Should we tell them?" My entire body locked up. I read it again. Positive. Test. Tell them. It took maybe 5 seconds for my entire world to collapse in on itself. And somehow, Daniel was still humming in the shower, completely unaware that the woman he was about to marry was unraveling on the edge of the bed they shared. I didn't open the message thread. I didn't touch anything. I just sat there, frozen, holding his phone like it was a bomb that had just gone off in my hands. My first instinct wasn't even anger, it was denial. My brain tried so hard to rationalize. Maybe it's work-related. Maybe she's talking about someone else. Maybe Kay is a sister, a friend, someone misdirected. But my body already knew the truth. That familiar ache in the chest, that ringing in the ears, that sharp, sour twist in your gut that says, "It's exactly what you think it is." I don't know how I stood up, or how I placed his phone gently back on the nightstand and walked to the bathroom like nothing had happened. He smiled when he saw me, kissed my cheek, asked if I wanted to order Thai or Mexican for dinner. I said Thai. I said it with a smile. I kissed him back, and I hated myself for it. That night, we ate noodles and spring rolls and talked about seating arrangements. He reached across the table to hold my hand and said, "Can you believe it's almost here?" I wanted to scream. Instead, I nodded. After dinner, I excused myself and cried in the shower with the water running so he wouldn't hear. I stared at the tiles and asked myself, what if it's true? What if the man I'm about to marry is having a baby with someone else? Then came the guilt. The voice in my head whispering, "You're overreacting. You didn't even see the full conversation. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you're just paranoid because this all feels too good to be true." But the thing is, I didn't want it to be too good to be true. I wanted it to just be good. Just true. Just ours. We were supposed to be building a life together. How could he be building one with someone else at the exact same time? I didn't confront him that night, or the next, because I wasn't ready to hear him lie to my face. I needed answers. I needed facts. I needed to know everything before I let this become real. So I waited, I smiled, I played along, and I made a silent vow that I would find out exactly what kind of man I was about to marry before I walked down that aisle. I think the worst part of being betrayed isn't the moment you realize it. It's the days after, when you're forced to live a lie while quietly searching for the truth. For the next 2 weeks, I played my part perfectly. I was the doting fiancé, the cheerful bride-to-be, the woman beaming at cake samples and writing thank you notes and laughing at rehearsal dinner jokes. But under all that, I was crumbling. My body ached from pretending. My face hurt from smiling, and every second I spent with Daniel felt like standing on a stage, reading lines from a script he didn't know I had rewritten. I didn't confront him about the message, not because I was weak, but because I wasn't ready to be gaslit. I needed more than a single text. I needed to know everything, so I started digging. First, I waited until he left for a weekend golf trip with friends. He kissed me goodbye, said he couldn't wait to see me Sunday night. I told him to have fun. The moment the door closed, I opened his laptop. He wasn't tech-savvy. He used the same password for everything. His iMessages were synced to the laptop, and within seconds, I found it. The thread with Kristen. The name hit me like ice water. I recognized it, barely. She was a woman he used to work with years ago. He mentioned her once in passing, just a colleague, nothing else. At the time, I hadn't even blinked. But now, she was very much something else. I scrolled through their conversations with shaking hands. There were no nudes, no sexts. What I found was worse. Their messages were intimate, domestic, comfortable. Cravings again. I want the dumplings from that place you took me. Think it'll be a boy. I'm kind of hoping he has your eyes. She doesn't know, right? Of course not. We've come this far. I'm not backing out now. Come this far, not backing out. They were in this together, like a team, like a couple, like parents. My throat went dry. I kept reading, though every word felt like another punch to the gut. She was 6 weeks pregnant. They had been trying for a while, her words. She was worried I'd find out before the baby was born. He kept reassuring her I was too busy with wedding stuff to notice anything. That line broke me. I wasn't too busy. I was just too trusting, too in love, too blind, and he knew it. He used it. That night I didn't sleep, again. I lay in bed, clutching the man's pillow, trying to reconcile two versions of him. The one who kissed my forehead and talked about our honeymoon, and the one secretly starting a family with another woman. How do you grieve someone who's still alive, still texting you sweet nothings while scheduling ultrasound appointments with someone else? Over the next few days, I started collecting evidence, screenshots, email confirmations for OB visits tied to his name, Venmo payments to Kristen labeled things like vitamins and checkup. I even tracked a shared Google Calendar he didn't realize I had access to. One event stood out, marked only with a heart emoji. It was the same day he told me he had a team dinner. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I just saved everything. By the time he came home from his trip, I had a folder on my desktop titled Truth. I smiled when I saw him. I hugged him. I asked how golf went. He said it was great, said he missed me, said he couldn't wait to marry me. And for a second, just 1 second, I believed him. Because that's what makes this kind of betrayal so cruel. They don't just lie to you, they make you lie to yourself. But the difference now, I wasn't lying anymore. I knew who he was, I knew what he was doing, and soon, he would know that I knew too. I didn't plan to confront him that night. I thought I'd wait until after the weekend. Maybe after the dress fitting or the final cake tasting. Maybe I just needed time to emotionally armor up. But the thing is, there's never a right time to destroy your future. So when it happened fast. We were sitting on the couch, both in sweats, eating takeout, and watching some trashy reality show he loved to mock. He leaned over, kissed my shoulder, and asked, "Did you ever think we'd actually make it here?" I smiled, not because I meant it, but because I was about to burn everything down. I stood up, walked to my desk, and came back with the folder. The one labeled TRUTH. He looked at it, confused. Then he looked at me, still smiling just slightly, like he was about to make a joke. I didn't give him time. I placed the folder in front of him. "Open it," I said. He hesitated. "What is this?" "Evidence," I replied, "of the life you've been building behind my back." His smile disappeared. He opened it. The screenshots were on top. Messages between him and Kristen. The ones about cravings and baby names and ultrasound appointments. Then the receipts, the calendar events, the Venmo notes. I watched his eyes move, page by page. I watched his jaw tighten, his hands start to tremble. When he finally looked up at me, I saw it. Not shock, not guilt, not even panic. Just calculation, like he was doing the math in his head. How much did I know, and how fast could he spin it? "Natalie," he began, his voice low. "I can explain." "No," I cut in. "You can't. You don't get to explain how you asked me to marry you while trying to get another woman pregnant. He paused, choosing his words like they were landmines. "It wasn't what you think." "Oh, so you weren't building a secret family with her. She's not 6 weeks pregnant with your child." He said nothing. "You weren't planning doctor visits while I was picking out place cards? You didn't lie every single time you kissed me goodnight and said you loved me?" Still nothing. "Then what was it, Daniel?" He looked down, and then he said the one thing I didn't expect. "I didn't think you'd find out." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I messed up." Not, "It was a mistake." Just, "I didn't think you'd find out." I felt my throat close. "That's it?" I whispered. "That's what you have for me?" He leaned forward, suddenly defensive. "You were so focused on the wedding, on making everything perfect. I didn't know how to talk to you anymore." I blinked. "So you talked to her instead? Slept with her? Got her pregnant?" "It wasn't supposed to go that far." He stood up now, his voice rising. "I didn't plan this, Natalie. You were obsessed with the wedding. You cared more about flower arrangements than us." I laughed, sharp, ugly. "Do not make me the problem here." "You weren't listening," he snapped. "You made every decision, controlled every detail. You didn't even ask me what I wanted." "I asked," I shouted. "I asked 100 times. You told me to plan it. You told me you trusted me to handle everything." "Because I didn't want to fight with you," he muttered. "No, Daniel, you didn't want to admit you already checked out. You were too much of a coward to leave, so you just replaced me, silently." Silence. He sank back onto the couch, head in his hands. "She said she couldn't get pregnant," he whispered. "She said she wanted to try. I didn't think it would happen, and when it did, I didn't know how to stop it." I felt something inside me snap. "So you didn't stop it. You planned a wedding with me and a pregnancy with her. 2 futures, 2 lies. And you thought you could juggle both without anyone noticing." His voice cracked. "I didn't want to lose you." I stared at him, really stared. And in that moment, I saw him clearly. Not the man I fell in love with, but the man who had built his comfort on my trust, who thought as long as he kept saying the right things, I'd never question his actions. He didn't love me. He loved what I gave him. I didn't cry. I stood, walked to the bedroom, took off the ring, placed it in a jewelry box, and came back out. "This is yours," I said. "Natalie, you don't get to call me that anymore." Then I left, and for the first time in weeks, I finally breathed. The silence after a breakup like that is strange. It's not quiet in the peaceful way you'd hope. It's loud, deafening. Like your life suddenly forgot its own rhythm. Like you're walking through the shell of what used to be a home. Not just the space you shared, but the life you believed in. The morning after I left Daniel, I didn't feel strong. I felt sick. I threw up twice. My hands trembled as I packed a single overnight bag and walked out the door without knowing where I was going. I ended up at my friend Marissa's place. She didn't ask questions. She just opened the door, handed me a glass of water, and made up the couch. I hadn't even told her the full story yet. Only that the wedding was off and I needed to disappear for a while. It took me 3 days to say it out loud. He got someone else pregnant. Even now, those words taste bitter in my mouth. The next week was a blur. I canceled the vendors, contacted the venue, took my name off our joint credit cards, called my mom. That was the hardest part. She cried harder than I did. "He seems so perfect," she said through tears. "I know," I whispered. "That's why it hurts." I blocked Daniel's number. I didn't want apologies. I didn't want explanations. I didn't want any more of his words. They were poison wrapped in silk. But of course, that didn't stop him from trying. He emailed. He wrote a letter. He sent flowers. He even left a voicemail at my office, begging me to just talk. I didn't respond to any of it, because I knew if I gave him even 1 inch, he'd twist it, make it about how we fell apart, about how he was confused and caught between 2 futures, about how I should understand. But I did understand. I understood that he had chosen to betray me in the most intimate way possible, not just by cheating, but by building a family with someone else while letting me plan a wedding I thought was the start of ours. And there's no coming back from that. So I disappeared, not in the dramatic run-off to Europe kind of way, just quietly. I took a leave from work, I stayed off social media, I moved back in with my sister for a month. I started going for long walks every morning, no headphones, no distractions. Just me, my breath, and the aching silence of starting over. And slowly, the silence softened. The noise faded, the pain dulled. I started feeling things again. I started cooking again. I bought myself flowers, not to replace the ones he sent, but to reclaim the ritual. One day, Marissa and I went to brunch. She hesitated, then said, "You're probably not ready to hear this, but Daniel and Kristen aren't together." I blinked. "What?" She nodded. "Apparently, she moved out. He's not listed on any of the baby stuff. She's raising it alone." For a second, I felt nothing. Then, an odd sort of relief. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just proof. Proof that what I walked away from wasn't stability. It wasn't love. It was a man so afraid of losing control that he tried to have it all and ended up with nothing. I never reached out to Kristen. I don't blame her the way people expected me to. From what I learned, she didn't even know I still existed. Daniel told her we'd ended months ago, that I was just a roommate he used to date. And maybe she believed it, maybe she didn't. But either way, he played both of us. We both lost him, but the difference is, I gained myself. It's been 6 months now. I moved into a new apartment, small, sunlit, mine. I deleted the wedding folder from my drive. I turned my wedding budget into a travel fund. I took a trip to Lisbon by myself and cried on a rooftop while watching the sunset. Not because I missed him, but because I finally realized I didn't. I don't dream about the wedding anymore. I dream about a life that doesn't require me to pretend. So if you've ever found yourself building a future with someone, only to realize they were secretly building a different one behind your back, let me say this. You didn't lose stability. You didn't lose the one. You lost the weight of someone who never truly saw you. And now you're free to find everything they were never capable of giving. Even if that starts with silence, even if it starts with pain, it still ends with you, whole, wiser, and finally, free.